Now, as a basic rule, right, when we start learning kick defense like this, we go, okay, he kicks, and it feels pretty good, right? I can start to time it. It's great. You got to build your confidence. You got to get it. But this is the reality. As a kicker, you should try never to kick without leading with punches, because it's too easy for somebody to do that. So imagine, look at the window from David not throwing the kick to the kick hitting it. Right? Look at what my face is doing. See, my brain is thinking, my eyes are looking. Yeah? Now imagine that gap is filled with 2 punches. Just 2 punches. Just instead of doing this, now we go, that's it. I could literally cross touch his gloves. You know, I go, right? That's the rhythm I want to have. If, for example, I'm turning, I'm defensive, and I need to open my toes in order to kick, it's usually on the jab that I open my toes. And if I need to transfer weight, it's usually on the cross that I transfer weight. So this can be done mechanically. I could have a weight in my hand, like a kettlebell. I could lift it, correct it, rock onto the toes. Right? Boom, I'm fighting, open my toes. Shift my weight, transfer my kick. So now, if David, I'm not going to hit your face, I'm just going to go here. So you have to have your hands up. Okay. Imagine now they were coming for your face, and you still have to absorb, right? So look at the difference between this and there's more noise. And that's the reality. So what David's no longer able to do, kick me here, hard. He's not able to get easily to this range. Now he's kind of being kept here, right? So if you touch my hands, tap, tap, kick, look how much further back I am. Suddenly the kick hurts more, yeah? If I go to jam in, I'm going to get hit. So what would I need in order to compress? Catches and shields, parries, or super good evasion. That could work. What's the danger with slipping? Slip. Kick, look at my body now. Whoa! I'm deformed. So generally you need shields. That's about the only way you can tank in. And then I got to be strong. So now I'm in so close that it's hard for him to kick. All we're going to do for now, though, is I'm going to go tap, tap, kick. Tap, tap, kick. Whoosh. 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 That's it. Yeah, you got to extend. Go through. Boom. Push me back. Yeah, and kick it.
You mean?
No, just you got to say, because now you're compressing and then you're kicking in a phone booth, right? So, bam, 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 I want to find the range up. Bam, bam. Whoosh. Yeah, because that's where I'm going to keep you. Right? I want you to be on the end of my fist. Yeah, so now more truly, you're going to feel now the base of my shin as opposed to the middle. 6, 7 extra centimeters of leverage, and just that weight, it starts to bite into your shin. Yeah, so now it becomes, if I'm, look at it, from being this distance where I like it, versus this distance where it's not as good, here I can't afford to go impact. I have to go impact at the same time. Kick me. Look if I go here. Oh, see that? I went into it and then kicked. Too early. Versus timing it, right? Or I'm moving with it. But I kick as fast as you can. Yeah? With the kick. If I go here too early, then I arrive and then I bite the shot. There's no dissipation of force. Yeah? And then even this. See that? That gives him a different angle. Even this gives him a different angle. Or watch. Because now I'm starting to think, as he's hitting me, where I'm going to be countering. But if I slip all the way and he kicks, it's very hard on my knee. Yeah? Because now you're completely torqued. And that's taking a lot of stress. So just play with feeling what the actual distance of my kick is going to be. Wham! I got to make sure I can kick you there too. A lot of people don't have enough of a pivot and they kick like this. It's no good. From my punch extension, toes are open, roll onto the ball of the foot, and I extend my kick. Just the weight of the transfer. There's no snap at it. Yeah? There you go. So I'm going to show you a micro detail. Maybe it's going to make sense in your head. You're going to try it in the drill, and it's going to be a lot harder for you than you thought. It's okay. I'll show you how to do it solo, and then I'm going to show you how to do it in application. So let's say just in this domain of loading to absorb. Right? We're absorbing. We're not yielding. We're not shielding. We're absorbing. There's a time for that. It's the worst case, and we have to do it. Sometimes we just have that little fraction of a second, or we have the energy when we're fighting. We go in, we yield, but we're forward moving. We're falling out. And so what ends up happening is, rather than saying the kick is coming in and I see it and I can process it, I'm going to try to move, but I don't have enough time, and I just end up going, and then, and I fall down. I, again, go to Ernesto Hoost. Ernesto Hoost was a championship kickboxer. He was a fantastic master of close range kicking. And often he would do these kind of figure eight kind of kicks like that, and the guy would go onto his head. Yes, Hoost was amazing, but what was amazing wasn't that he was so powerful. It wasn't that everyone goes, oh, his kick is so strong. It's because it was so unorthodox. The conventional circuitry of the other person was, he's going for the kick. They'd see the kick, but he was in 6 centimeters closer than he should have been. There anybody else was. So they would have 6 centimeters more reaction time expected. And normally they'd go, you know, the good guys are a little, but they're not a big block. Just that's it, just that. But because you're in a tenth, an eighth of a second too close, they'd go, and they wouldn't quite set their form. Their weight wouldn't be back. They'd still be leaning forward, but they had volunteered the foot off. They're in transition, they get hit, and they get swept, right? Because he was just too close for them to fully cook the cake, solidify the move, and that's why they would go down. So what we want to teach ourselves is that whenever I move, I'm always solid. For some people, standing still is enough. And they're still doing this, right? Poor, there's a newborn colt, you know? That's it, right? I want to make sure that's solid. And I can make it more solid by twisting my lead, by screwing the backside forward, because all that mass buttresses against that leg. So if I'm up against like a giant 290-pound guy throwing in a power kick, if I had the time, if I had to absorb, I would lock it in even deeper, because now I have more mass pushing here and barricading the door against the zombie army that's coming through. But I want to see now that I can move, because having the ability to be load-bearing forward and to hick up that foot, little motion, is very tough. A lot of people don't have it. They're so frozen with terror they can't move. And if I can start to move, then I want to see, can I time it? So one, I'm going down as the kick comes in, and then as the kick goes back, I step forward. Yep, so I'm going to bore you, David. We're going to go slow-mo at first. So I want to see, I don't do this, arrive and freeze and take the kick. But rather I see the kick launching. If I go slow, I actually delay myself. Because I see, no one's that fast that they go, I see the origin of his intent as a pebble of light hovering over the pubis. That's an Aikido reference. I want to go here. I want to go. See, I can respond at his speed and slower, and I still have enough time. And then, if that's comfortable, okay, faster now. See, I'm going with him. I'm not going too soon, right? I'm going at the same time. And then as soon as that's comfortable, I'm going to move forward after. Absorb and then step. Look what happens. Yeah. Absorb and then step. Take it back as fast as you can. I like it works. Show me fast. Take it back. Bounce off me. Boom. Bounce off me. Yeah. Ready to go again.
It's going to be harder if it's back.
I want to be in his space. So all I'm doing is making sure I'm arriving as the kick arrives, not before. Okay? And then I'm stepping right after. That's the best defense now, right? I'm in here. For whatever I would do. Anything I want to do. So I'm just making sure it's solid. The drill goes off when coach sees me doing this. Yeah? As soon as I'm deforming, I'm not reforming. I want to make sure it's here and I'm solid. And if I'm solid, chewing gum step. Get rid of that nervous energy. Make sure it's solid. Then when it's good, bam. Bam, bam, and I go. Make sense? That's my starting pistol. I go right after. Simple enough? Just on absorbing. Just gonna do one small difference. So what happens is, it's great when we have comfort, but then we start, instead of shooting, bam, 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 we start doing this. And the punches are just cosmetic as well. So now I want you to do a single solitary jab and a kick. Next time, a single cross and a kick. In exception state, we rarely lead with the right, and we rarely just throw a jab and kick, and if we throw the jab off, we'll kick with the other leg, but I want to do it for two reasons. When I throw just the jab, there's often the tendency to defensively pivot, which makes the rear kick very slow. So in order to remain loaded, I have to stay, right? I kind of bring my shoulders together, boom, and I pop it out with my shoulder up like this. Like that. like an Irish stick putting when we pop, right? Bam, like that. So my frame is staying nice and strong forward. I don't want any sway. In fact, I'm pushing out by occupying the void. If I think this is the danger, I'm counter-inhibiting that by pushing my pubis forward. I'm pushing my pubis up into my shoulder blades, and bam, I'm popping, boom. So now this is able, kick me here, this is able to take pressure, right? Even here. You'll see that in traditional Cossack work, that kind of good morning stretch, where they're getting hit on the hamstring, and boom, and they hit like this. Literally the drill we just did as a hit, yeah? So I want to make sure, but if I do this, we're done. So I'm strong, bam, just on my jab. Or I'm strong, bam, just on my cross. That's the kind of strength I would have. Except, the puncher is going to be the person throwing the kicks. And what I want to see is this. I'm expecting a hit on my thigh. I'm going to kick you. I'm expecting a hit. I'm stable. Bam! Boom! Each one, single beat. I have to have enough power to fill the void. Because if I do this, he's going to kill me. It's got to be brainstem. I'm going for your brainstem. Wham! And I drive it through. When I do my cross, I want long extension. Wham! Big one like that. Bam! And I drive through. Make sense? So both are super stable. Boom! Ah, kick through. And then bam! Bam! Right through. Each one is given its own importance. I do jab, kick, cross, kick. You do jab, kick, cross, kick. Have a comparative. That's it. I've got my jab cross as my basic delivery. Right now, most of us, if we look at the interlock of our complementary, most of us are kind of in lane. We're almost here, because we're circling out so much, right? And then when we throw, as a result of that, it's a little bit close, a little bit awkward. We don't have much distance, so we step forward, but not so much inward, and then when we kick, we're a little bit jammed. So I want you to play, we're going to do 3 each, just to have a comparative. I want you to start off wherever you were, and take a look and say, okay, maybe I'm 1 centimeter inside the foot, jab, cross, bam. Then I want to say, okay, what would it be required? Whew. Maybe I don't feel good here. If you're really in the mindset, you're going to say, yeah, I'm getting, so maybe when I step in, I'm going to be back, I'm going to use a jab here. Now when I cross, I'm going to be much deeper. Bam! It's going to be different. Now I want to see what would happen if I went like 2 or 3 centimeters deep. Bam, bam! I strafe across. Bam, bam! I'm in this position. Now, not only am I going to have better room for extension, it's going to require less pivot of me, because think of the pivot that's required here in order to get good impact. I have to lift up my heel and rotate. But if I'm here in deep, if I've gone bam here, I could just have a toe out and have a pretty good impact with no damage to my knee. So then if I add a pivot, boom, catastrophic. I know I said I wouldn't hit all the time. I just forget, the little cat gets excited, yeah? So I want to go boom, in line. I want to go a little bit in, yeah? And then I want to go in deep, bam, bam, boom, and drive in. You're going to not only have differences in pivot, differences in power, he's going to experience differences in the sector that gets hit. So you're going to get fresh bruising. Yeah. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
When you got it. So let's say Darren's fighting me. He's the aggressor. He's going to do punch combo, kick combo. And now you see our feet, our lead feet are just interlocked. Oh, we're just inside each other, something like that. So if he kicks, we know from that distance he has, even if he compresses range, because he's zoned out, he has a lot of distance. If I take a stick, right, he has a lot of distance here from hip to hip. So if we look at the hip distance, right? A lot of distance, pretty good, right? So if now he was to, instead of just interlocking toes, he was to step towards my belt buckle, if he compresses in with range, as he zones in, he loses distance. See that? He slid up the stick. Now the kick is going to be harder for him to fire. 1, I'm going to be punching within his reflex threshold. 2, he's zoning in. What's the danger of zoning in? You're going towards power, right? So when you zone in, what do we always say? If you zone in, you gotta
Punch.
go all the way in or all the way out, right? Never, just a little bit in. I'm just going to step tip of the toe on a landmine, just see how it feels, just a tip. I want to always, it's almost, we do this drill in boxing, right? If we're here, if Darren circles, see the distance he's at? You maintain the perimeter, except the distance Darren's at is somewhere around here. So when you step in, don't bring, no, you just compressed again. Don't compress the distance. I compress. I want to zone in, not compress. If I zone in and compress, That's the domain of knees, clinching, and whatever else, which is okay too. So if I was here and I'm trying to work, bam, it's okay. But he's coming in, he's turning. So now, whoop, I go here. Right? I zone in line with his belt. But look at the distance. Because I've maintained hip distance, I now have more kick distance. And then if I was to zone to his far foot, boom, look at the distance I get. Bam! Does that make sense? So you literally could, if he was punching, whatever, I could be shielding, I could be pushing, push, and going in like that. That's fine. The second way I can solve it is that if it is compressed and I don't have much pivot time, much elongation time, I take my foot up, like I'm kicking my own butt. I take it up. Is that like okay? Yeah. Chamber part. Yeah. I don't have much for a normal kick. I don't have much. I'm feeding into his ramp and I'm sliding up, maybe damaging his iPhone. Maybe, right? But if I bring the heel up higher, that's going to explode. And I go down. Look. Now I have more time. Now I defeat his shield. Because even at this range in a clinch, it's hard for me to tie kick conventionally here. But if I bring the heel up, now I go. Right? Because now I have all that zone to kick. It's like if I was sweeping. I won't sweep you, but I'll just say, if I was close like that trying to sweep here, I only have, what, 10 centimeters to create power? But if I took it to my butt, my heel now has, look at that, look at the distance it's going. Right? Zinging. There. Bam, right here. So it's the same thing. I want to see that if I am too close, then I can bring my foot up. Wham! Some guys will even work guys like this. They'll be in that close and they'll go crush in with both shins. I will shin shelf you like that. That's fantastic. If you shin shelf me, you got to squat, right? Like that. Otherwise, that's the only way to absorb that. Protect your. If you do this in any way, I got to go down. And if you forget to, getting it in the crotch will remind you to anyway. That's because it's not as good, right? So I want to make sure if I do zone in, ideally I'm not compressing range, so I have good distance. If I do compress range, that's my thing, I'm coming in, I'm either going to go knee or else I'm going to do kick, bang, I'm going to kick it downward. That's a hard kick. So it's your choice. Maintain distance as you circle, just as you would on the other side. Maintain distance, an invisible force field between our stomach, like a chi erection if you would. Yeah? And then, boom, distracted, bam, and I kick it. Yeah? Or corkscrew, bam, and go straight down. Let's keep going.